Okay, so welcome. This is a video to help you with the lesson 9.1.4C, and I did want to share a couple of important things with you before we start going into what the lesson says. First off, I'm sorry for the glare. Anyway, so this lesson is from Chapter 7 in the CPM book. It is Lesson 7.1.2. So if you want to get more help from the book, that would be the place that you would look. And that's the reason why the problem numbers begin with the 7 instead of 9, which is the chapter we're working on. And part of the reason why we're working on this section is, 1, it's fun, and 2, we need it for our next section. So don't throw away the tetrahedron that you make. So you're going to be making a lovely pet tetrahedron like this one. So the first thing that you're going to need is you're going to need a circle. Now, the simplest way to make a circle, sorry, I'm not very good at this being recorded thing. So the simplest way to make a circle, if you cannot print one of the coloring pages that I have uploaded for you into the Google Classroom, but the quickest way to make a circle would be to take a dinner plate or a bowl or something and a piece of paper, and what you can do is wait and draw. You can draw a picture on the paper using a circle or a plate, cut it out. And the coloring part is completely optional. Most of you made a coloring sheet first semester, so you don't have to worry about coloring it, although I do think that it is a lot more fun to have a colored tetrahedron than it is to have a boring blank white one. If you do make a white one, do make sure that you write your name on the outside so that in pen, so that it's obvious that's your personal tetrahedron. Okay? Because you do need to upload a picture of the tetrahedron. So you need to go through all of these steps and make one for yourself. So you may want to get your supplies. One of the things I have is just a little piece of wood, but I'm using it as a straight edge. It makes the tetrahedron a lot easier to create. So you do need to have, at the very least, a piece of paper where you can draw a circle on it. Now, I do have coloring pages with a variety of different patterns that I am going to upload. You can always, if you have printing ability, you can pick the design you want and print out that page. Remember, the circle part is important, so make sure that you get the circle on the back side. And then one of the things I like to do is cut it out before I color it in, so I don't waste all my time coloring the stuff on the outside, because that's a lot of wasted effort. So once you've cut out your circle and colored it, if you wish, coloring is optional, although I think it's pretty groovy myself. Then what you're going to do is you're going to follow the instructions. You'll follow the instructions of the on the lesson. Now, I apologize, the video does keep freezing, and part of that is that my computer system isn't the most powerful, so we just have to live with what we got. So I apologize for those glitches. There's really nothing much I can do about it. So I try to pause when I notice that the recording is frozen, kind of like it does in class. I'll wait till it's done. But anyway, at least you can laugh, which is, of course, why I'm wearing this lovely headgear. All right, so let's go through the instructions. The very first instruction is that you need to cut out your circle. So I've already done that. So I've cut out my circle, and I even colored it because I wanted to have a really pretty tetrahedron. So I went ahead and colored in my coloring sheet, and I cut out my circle. Now let's look at the instructions and follow through on them. It says that the very first step is to fold the circle in half to create a crease that lies on the line of symmetry of the circle. So basically I'm just going to fold it perfectly in half, kind of like a taco shell. Make a nice solid crease, and then I open it up again. Now it really does help if you draw a line for each of the creases. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I have this lovely line, sorry. There we go. I have a lovely line for my crease. Now make sure that you follow all of the instructions in the lesson. The second instruction is to go ahead and fold it a second time so that the second crease is perpendicular to the first. Now the easiest way to do that is to fold it. Sorry, there's quite the glare. You want to fold it so that this line, these 2 points end up together. So I'm going to go ahead and line those 2 up and then fold them. And now I have this is my result. And I'm going to go ahead and draw on that line as well. So now I have these 2 lines, and they ask you to discuss how you can convince someone that these 2 creases and the lines I drew on them are actually perpendicular. So then on the circle it says label the endpoints of one of these diameters as A and B. So I'm going to go ahead and label these 2, A and B. So I have A and B. And then it says they want to ask, they ask you to go ahead and fold the circle so that the point A touches the center of the circle and make a new crease. So the center of the circle is right there. And so I'm going to fold this A down so that it lands right at that center. So I'm going to fold it like this with a nice crisp crease. And when I do that, I will then have a new crease, and I want to go ahead and draw that one in too, so it's easy to see. So the instructions say label the endpoints of this crease C, D. So I went ahead and I labeled those 2 endpoints as C and D. And make sure you answer the questions. It asks about the relationship between this line segment and this line segment. Now they tell us to go ahead and fold the circle twice to form creases BC and BD. And that's where a lot of students get a little bit confused, because it's sort of hard to picture exactly what they're talking about. So I'm going to kind of walk you through it a little. So we have the points C and B. And C and B, what I want to do is fold it so that these 2 points are connected. And so I'm going to go ahead and use a table and use my strip of wood. And what I do is I label I put the stick so that it's at those 2 points, and then I fold it up right along that point. So this is what I've done. And then I can go ahead and draw that in so that you can see I've just created the line segment CB. And now I'm going to do the exact same thing to get the line segment DB. I'm not going to put the camera on because that's just too difficult. I will never make a television producer, I can tell you that right now. So I've made that one. I didn't bother to draw it. But this is the line. And now what's really cool is I can bend all three of these along those creases and something really cool ends up happening. So what we end up getting is triangle BCD. I guess I'll draw that one in so you can see what I'm talking about. So here we have triangle BCD. So that triangle is really, really cool because it's got something kind of neat going on with the lengths of all three sides. So all three sides are the exact same length. And so what's cool about this is that we've now created this kind of triangle. And that's the end of problem 12. Now, one of the instructions that I've given you on the assignment is that you will ultimately need to have 4 tetrahedrons. So I already have 3 made. You'll need those for the last problem. And you'll need that, and you'll need to take a picture of at least one of your tetrahedrons. You'll also need a picture of all 4, so really one picture of all 4 will do the job. You don't actually need to, if you're working with another student, you need to make sure that it's clear which one is yours, which one belongs to the other student, but you do need to have a picture of your tetrahedron and of the object that you're going to be building when you do problem 14. Now for problem 13, then what they want to do is they're going to ask you some questions about your triangle that you've created. So now this equilateral triangle is a 2-dimensional shape. It has length and width, but it's not, I mean, technically it's, you know, millimeter thick, but we'll just pretend it doesn't. So that's 2-dimensional. But what we're going to do is we're going to create a 3-dimensional object. And so to do that, we want to find point B. So point B is here at the bottom. And so I'm going to fold point B so that it ends right here, lands right here at the midpoint of the line segment CD. So I put the point of the triangle right there. And I want to leave this folded up. But if I fold it down, then you get a new shape. And you're going to need to answer what that shape is. What are some of the characteristics? Does it have any sides that are the same length? Does it have any sides that are parallel? You should have one of your own to look at. You need to make sure to answer those questions. This also asks what smaller shapes, what's this small shape right here for this flap, what's this shape, what's this shape. So you need to make sure to answer those. And then if we look at this, we have a large equilateral triangle, and we want to compare this large equilateral triangle with the little one that we have right here in this flap. And then we have just 2 more steps and we'll have a tetrahedron, which is really cool. Now what we're going to do is we're going to fold each of these flaps on top of the original one. And what you'll find is you'll get better at making these as you go. But after I've folded them down, I unfold it slightly, and boom, I have a tetrahedron. It's really cool. And you are going to need to have 4 of these. So you'll find that having tape is really useful. If you don't have tape, Well, you pretty much need tape. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to tape this one together. Make sure that you continue to answer the questions that are on your assignment. And then what you're going to be doing with your assignment is you're going to be creating a tetrahedron where you're going to stack them on top of each other. So, I had tape here somewhere. All right. So that's going to be the last thing I'm going to try to do. It takes skill, and it's easier when you have more than one person. One person is difficult, but that's kind of what most of us have right now. I know I've seen students do a pretty good job of taping these together in my class. You'll want to tape it together so it ends up looking kind of like this. And then imagine what it looks like as a big tetrahedron. Okay, so it's not very pretty, but you might have family members who can hold it while you tape it. So there you go. That's what you'll be doing as part of today's assignment, or this coming week's assignment. Make sure that you answer the questions. Keep in mind that this gap inside here is not the same size as one of these tetrahedrons. It is really easy to think, oh, it's just a big tetrahedron with a one of these size chunks cut out of it, but that's not actually what it is. So try to avoid the easy answers because they tend to be not quite right. Enjoy making your tetrahedrons. Give it a name. Keep it safe. You'll need it for the following week, so you don't want to lose your collection of 4 tetrahedra.